Attackers incoming. Prepare your defenses.
Get behind!
Locked and loaded.
Prepare to attack. 3, 2, 1. Capture the objective.
Let's go!
Hey, howdy, hey, and welcome to the OverCast, the Overwatch podcast featuring me, Helsing, and my co-host,
Holmes.
Holmes. How are you doing today, Holmes?
Doing fine. How are you, Helsing?
I'm very good. I'm excited. We're getting in
Oh my gosh.
to Overwatch podcast time. We meant to do this on Tuesday, but I was rear-ended, so I came home like 4 hours later than I expected. But luckily, it's only a couple days later, we're able to get stuff going. So this will be our first. This is like our pilot episode of the Overcast. Now,
The
pilot episode. Now I know many people are probably gonna say the game hasn't even come out yet. Nobody knows
What are you
anything
guys
about the
doing?
game. What is going on? Yes. Well, we were at BlizzCon and we played probably total like an hour's worth. We waited in line 5 times. So we played 10 little
It's
rounds.
about 10 minutes each.
Yeah, so
for
we
each
got
round.
about 50 minutes. And so we're just going to come on, talk about it, do all that jazz. Just a little background information on myself. I used to do a World of Warcraft podcast, I Hearth Geeks, with the Tech Jives Network, and I did a lore section. So if you want to check that out, I think it's still on iTunes. I've been playing Blizzard games since 2004, Vanilla
man.
WoW. I didn't have anyone older to get me into the original game, so whatever.
Back in the good old days.
Holmes, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a university student at University of California, Irvine, studying computer game science, hoping to someday enter the gaming industry. And a dream occupation would obviously be working at Blizzard or some game company that is equivalent, but it's hard.
Blizzard
it's hard
or Valve?
It is hard to match up to Blizzard. They are just too good. They have delivered so many good quality games. It's ridiculous.
And we're here to
And-
talk about another one of those quality
Exactly.
games.
Indeed, we are.
Overwatch.
And this one is looking just stunning.
Yeah.
Utterly stunning.
Now, okay, why? All right, so I know there's a lot of people who have not yet played the game, but have seen the game. So what would you say to people who, tell us your experience with the game, Holmes? I know, like, it looks really good, but how does it feel? Is it fun? Is
Right.
it really good?
Is it? Can you enjoy the game? Well, honestly, and I've played many FPSs, including Halo, Call of Duty, even heck, Medal of Honor, all the classics, and even the kind that are more like this, the
Like-
shoot 'em up kind of games like Quake.
Yeah, like
and-
team-based kind of stuff.
Exactly, team-based, just run 'em and gun 'em. And this game is just completely different.
It is.
It incorporates so many different mechanics and dynamics, and it's so fast-paced, which really, the fast pace is much like any other FPS, except this pace is more, you're in and you're out.
Yeah,
kind of a
yeah.
deal.
There's I think a minute and a half at the beginning of the match when you're either attacking or defending. You're getting ready
Yeah.
to set up your defense or whatever.
Right.
But other than that minute and a half, it's action packed the entire time.
Exactly. The moment you enter the battlefield, you are just ready and raring to go. You're expecting enemies right beyond the wall that you come across, right around the corner.
Yeah.
And so I like that. I like, that you're basically coming in this game like, I'm a hero. I'm ready to use my freaking awesome abilities on anybody I come across.
Anyone and everyone.
Anyone in it.
Now, I know you mentioned a lot of games, but one of the games you did not mention that you've played much of was Team Fortress 2. A lot of people online are comparing this to, this is, even at BlizzCon, people ask, everyone's saying that it's vertical TF2, so basically Team Fortress, but people can fly and there's lots of stuff up high. Now, Holmes doesn't have any experience with Team Fortress, but I've played probably about 200 hours, so it really, like, novice level Team Fortress 2 amount. But just playing it that much, I can tell you that Overwatch, it doesn't feel like Team Fortress 2. You can, because I feel like TF's fast-paced, but it's kind of, it seems longer. Like the maps seem bigger. There's more objective points to capture, and it takes a little bit longer time. With this, it's kind of, and of course there's like, yes, there's the medic and the engineer, who are kind of like, you don't have to be super fantastic at first-person shooters. Really, only the medic, because other than building your turret and stuff, you kind of want to get in the front line and run and gun, shotgun with the engineer. But I personally am I'm a big fan of support classes, especially in all games. First-person shooters in particular, though, just because I'm not the standard FPS player.
The twitchy
I'm
hand player.
And so I play a lot of Planet Side 2, and my favorite classes are just Combat Engineer and Medic, just because I like to support or just heal up the vehicles or max units, or just keep the fight going with sustainability and the ammunition and stuff. So I'll be talking mainly about the support classes. Those are what I really mesh well with, and Overwatch has a plethora of heroes for that. I feel like of all the heroes I played, of the 12 that were at BlizzCon, there's really only maybe about half of them I felt pretty confident dealing with, because not only the support characters can I use, but also the tank classes, or the tank heroes were really friendly to my playstyle. I'm able to make an impact on the game, but I don't have to necessarily be. I can be more meticulous in planning and be more patient than, say, like someone like Tracer, who's going to run in, kill you, and get out before you even know what's happening. And I know, I know snipers in a lot of games require quite a bit of patience, but then there's also that patience in that really quick like headshot, or else and aim. And so I think there's something for everybody, because there are snipers in the game, in the form of Widowmaker and even Hanzo to some degree. But so that's the overall. It's really fun to play.
It is so fun. It's you're just always on the move, and if you're not, you're setting up, defending your defenses. You're like Symmetra, building your turrets on this wall over here, and then you're running over to this other room where you're like, oh, I know that the enemy is probably going to be coming in here, and you're setting up a turret there. And it's just you can do all sorts of things no matter what class you are. Yeah, just like you've been saying.
So let's go ahead and talk about the maps for a little bit. I know when we were at BlizzCon, they had 3 maps available, I believe. There was Anubis, Temple of Anubis, which is set in Egypt, which is cool. And then there was, the one that's in Japan.
I like that one.
Hanamura.
Hanamura.
And then, of course, there was King's
Row.
King's Row.
Yes.
So King's Row is the one payload map in the game. The other 2 are just cap the points. So let's talk a little bit. I feel like the one that sticks out in my head most recently, probably just because the most memorable game that I had, actually in a negative way, I'll talk about that in a second, was King's Row. So the defending team starts out in the church, and the attacking team starts out in the church, and the defenders can set up a defense around the outside. And in one particular game, once we decided we're going to do a podcast for this, we were like, all right, so let's make sure we play all the heroes so that we can. That way we've got it taken care of. And
why wouldn't you play all the heroes?
Yeah.
Paying a good sum of money to be there to play that game. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, and we didn't know it was going to be there, but we were
that's true.
Some time.
That's true. We didn't know. We were mind blown when they announced it.
Yeah.
Just everybody jaw dropped.
But so it's interesting, the dynamic where the defenders have time to prepare. I thought that was really cool.
Right.
Being able, you could literally just stand right outside the base. But King's Row in particular, I believe there's 3 exits out of this church that you can go on the attacking team. You can kind of go right out the cathedral doors, the front, and then there's a smaller like single hallway off to the left, and then there's kind of an upper area off to the right. And in this particular game, me and Holmes were not on the same team, and the heroes that I still had yet to try were all offensive characters, and Widowmaker, but I know that she's classified defensive, but she's a sniper.
Is she really?
Yeah, she's classified
Oh.
defense. I don't know why.
Oh yeah.
But
I
I mean,
probably
I guess because
she's
she's good at, she can just get up high and just kind of stand from the base and pick people off.
right.
But the rest of my team was doing the same kind of thing. Everyone was playing Tracer and Reaper and Pharah, and we had we didn't have any tanks. They had 2 Torbjorns and a Bastion set up outside, so they were covering all of our exits from the church. Literally, our team, we could not get out of the church, and I was really frustrated because I'm like, I know if I pick Reinhardt and I just go out the front and soak up some bullets and people come behind me, we can break this barrier out of this church.
Mhm.
But I was like, nope, I gotta play Reaper this game. I have to play Reaper.
Right. You're limited.
And
to,
of course, Reaper is another hero that does not really suit my preferred playstyle. So I'll just go out and say it right now. The game is a ton of fun. But if if there's potential that you could get raffle stomped a little bit if you're stubborn about it, because
Right.
yeah, but because I was being stubborn about it, and the other people, I couldn't communicate with the other people on my team. But so, pro tip, switch heroes. Switch heroes often. If something's not working, switch heroes as soon as you die and come back. Switch.
Look around at who's on your team.
Yeah, see who's on your
'cause
team.
If
See what
there's
you
3
guys-
Tracers, you're not going to want to pick Reaper or Tracer, or another Tracer for that matter, or even Hanzo. You want somebody who can fit well with whoever you're playing with.
Yeah, and I feel like one of the biggest actually like competitive strategies that's going to be like that's really going to set people apart in this game is the timing of hero swaps. Like, imagine if this does get to a competitive level. You think about strategies. We'll say, okay, so we're just going to make this initial push with, say, something like, I don't know, we'll take 2 Torbjorns, a Bastion, and the rest like Tracers or something like that, you know. And then so they do a certain objective, and then everybody goes back and swaps heroes to something else. You know, I feel like there can be some really good timing, almost like in MOBAs where you have like a timing attack with certain weapons. Like if you can catch the enemy off guard and they don't realize that you have, say, like 4 Winstons or something like that, you know.
Where did all these gorillas
Yeah,
come from?
like,
They
I
just
feel like-
dropped from the moon.
I feel like you could do some really cool element of surprise things.
Yeah, you really could. And I didn't even think of that when I was playing the game.
Like if the team strategically all swapped at the same time, and then like that next fight, you guys are gonna have potentially you could kind of give them a slip, which could be cool.
Yeah.
Or like even if a capture point like 6 Pharahs just to get to the point really quickly.
Yeah, and that would be useful if the other team had, say, a bunch of Reinhardts or even a bunch of Torbjorns or Symmetras, where you need to get those defenses down, the turrets down, you need to get the shields down, and Pharah is the one to do that with her powerful rockets and also her little wrist rocket thing that knocks enemies back.
The
Also
blast,
does tons of damage to shields. And so just like you're saying, you can totally change the way the game's going just by picking different heroes, and that is
especially I feel like in a team comp that people are gonna want to be doing this timed switch thing. I think Symmetra is gonna be like the savior of that team, because all that needs to happen, she just needs to get up her ult so she can put up a teleportal, and then she like does her thing, maybe puts up some turrets, and then her whole team could go in, suicide, all swap to a different thing. She puts up a portal close by, but in a safe spot just long enough, so in 5 seconds the whole team's back as completely different heroes. Like super efficient, and then all of a sudden they're like, where did this happen? Where did these people come from? So
Right.
so
Yeah,
there's
the
a lot
potential
of,
for competitive play with those kinds of strategies is just it's so interesting to think about what could possibly be fathomed
yeah.
as far as you know changing the game, the pace of the game, just like you say, having that Symmetra there to drop that portal so that, oh, well, we were just, a bunch of tracers. Now we're going to come in hard with like 4 Winstons who are just going to go ape on everybody.
Just cause. Yeah.
It's going to be Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
So that there's like I said, there's potential for some competitive stuff if the community takes it that way. But even just as a casual game, I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like I said, even though I had a self-inflicted pretty bad experience for one round, the good news is it was over really quickly. It's not like a game of League of Legends or Dota 2 where
the torture
you're
just goes on.
you're stuck with the team. And
You
a
just
lot
want to type that dash surrender.
yeah, or you're stuck with the team, and it could be for 45 to 50 minutes. You're stuck with these 5 people, and it's like, well, there goes my entire lunch hour. With this, you're pretty sure to if you could play 3 rounds in a half an hour for lunch, and like one of those or 50% are bound to be really like if you're just looking to win, like you probably get that, or just you're gonna have some good times. So let's actually take a step back. And let's talk about the announcement at BlizzCon with the new IP and just like after playing the small amount of Overwatch that we have. Go ahead and tell us what how you think that these characters are going to fit into the Blizzard universe and all that stuff. Like
Right.
What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this totally took me by surprise as far as because I've grown up with Blizzard playing their games. I watched my dad when I was 6. I watched him play Warcraft 2 with the orcs versus the humans, and I'm amazed that Blizzard has introduced this whole new universe and one that is pretty relatable. Much more so relatable to us, given that it's futuristic Earth.
Future and not even super futuristic. It's a relatable future Earth.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
60 years, like you said. Like the kids are still wearing like t-shirts and a hoodie. Like
Yeah.
I was wearing a sweatshirt today. Like I can relate because, yeah.
Exactly.
And it's technology that's not so out there, and it's not all.
No.
It's not space focused, which I think is a lot of times future. We think, we're gonna chart new worlds. Like yes, there's the robots and stuff. But
Yeah, really, the only the farthest reaches of this universe is the moon, which is where Winston originated from, and other than that, there's plenty of explanations as to the sciences behind these characters, like with Symmetra being an architect for this hard light. It's kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah. You guys should go ahead and I don't know if you are aware, go to battle.net or www.overwatch.com. You can go and check out like a little bio of all the heroes. You can also watch the training videos that show all their abilities, and then show quite a few of them show their like combos in action, which is cool. I wish I would have seen some of them before I was playing. Some of them were rolling on the convention floor, but I didn't see like Hanzo, for example. I didn't realize until I accidentally used his ult, his little dragon thing, that it goes through walls.
Yeah.
And so I saw in the training video they did. He launched his thing, the dragon sight, to where he could see where everybody is. Then he got behind a wall and just shot the dragon straight through the wall and got the whole team.
Exactly. Those two abilities go hand in hand.
Yeah. And at BlizzCon, we had limited time, and so it was like reading through. We were just like, okay, what is my ability to do? Kind of like I just need to know.
Yeah, F1. Okay. Now we got to go attack, and who knows if it's gonna work?
Like I'll figure out how this guy works as I'm dying.
Exactly.
Which is actually, it was not so bad because it's not super like they said at the announcement. The game, it's lethal. Obviously, you die, but it's not as much. That being said, it's not as much if you use all your abilities. Like we were talking, Reinhardt is a beast. He's very tanky, and his shield that he throws up he can do on the move. Whereas Winston, the other tank, you jump into a fight, and if you don't throw your bubble up, that is a huge part of your damage soak ability. So like the first time I played Winston, I was like, oh, this guy's a tank. I'll just jump in. And there's maybe 3 people, and I died instantly.
Yeah,
but that's because I didn't know what I was doing, you know.
Right.
So to say, oh, I played it and I died, like, yes, that's the whole point. But you come back within 5 seconds or something crazy.
Exactly.
But yeah, so let's actually. Is there anything else you wanna talk about before we go? We can go through the heroes, talk about our experiences playing them, if you want to, or in the meantime you can talk. Is there anything else?
Right. Well, I was
Just
just
general.
gonna go back to your previous question.
Oh yes, about
with Blizzard introducing this whole new universe, and I feel that it's fitting. I mean, it takes on a whole new perspective. Instead of having these like races that come together and combat against each other, you have just all sorts of
these
heroes,
races of people.
Well, I mean, they are technically they are different races, but they're all human beings. They're not space aliens. They're not orcs or undead. They're people, or even just advanced, like in the case of Winston, advanced beings from Earth. Nonetheless, they're from Earth, and so I like that. I like that they related that much more so to our world. Yeah, I think even going right off that is the diversity that they've been, like, there was 5 or 6 female characters out of the probably 5. Let me double check. See.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 of the 12 of these heroes are females, and I would even only say 1 of those 5 is scantily clad.
Right. Yeah.
So and Widowmaker, she's like blue, and so that doesn't even really count, kind of. But anyways, yeah, I think that that it's going to be relatable to a lot of people, obviously.
Yes.
And especially the fact what Chris Metzen alluded to in the storytelling element is how a lot of the story is going to be told outside of the game. My prediction stands now. They're going to do either some kind of a web series or a series of series, kind of just animation,
different chapters,
little
maybe
cinematic type things. Yeah, similar to how they did the Lords of War with or the Legend of Xiao Hao. How they're just like maybe 5, maybe 10-minute clips. I mean, it would be awesome if we got 15 to 20-minute little like webisode kind of a thing. So that would be awesome. But I'll take 10, 15 minutes as just an ongoing series, because even after seeing the cinematic, we're like, when those at the end of the video, the 2 brothers are just sitting there like with their jaw just hanging open.
Yeah,
I feel like the entire convention center watching this for the first time, that was their exact reaction. They were just like,
oh yeah, everything was just dead silent. We're just like,
the heck?
We're just trying to take all that happened, trying to take it all in.
And then they said, oh, and I guess you guys are wondering, yes, there is a game that goes along with
it.
Because literally my first thought is, what? Is this a Pixar movie?
Yeah. What are they making a movie now?
Yeah, and I think that honestly, the first I thought this is awesome, but I was like almost skeptical, especially when I first saw Tracer. I was like, who is this girl with her accent? Like, is this gonna be annoying? Yeah, cavalry's here. And I thought this girl's gonna probably annoy me, but maybe 5 minutes later, I was like, dang it, she's just so lovable. Like, you're just having a good time.
Yeah.
And I feel like after playing the game, after BlizzCon, I feel like, oh, these characters have been part of Blizzard for a long time. I already am. I accept them like full-heartedly. So that's awesome. So speaking of Tracer, let's go into her gameplay, some of her abilities. Yeah. All right. So there's some lore. Her role is offense. Yes, she is from London, England. Okay. So Tracer, essentially, she got 2 pulse pistols that are close range, rapid fire pistols. Then she has her blink, she has her recall, and she has her pulse bomb. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how these synergize together. I feel like you played more Tracer than I did because again, she's one of those heroes that I had to try because she's like the kind of the iconic character, it seems.
Right. And right off the bat, she appealed to me because that is more my play style of, sneaking in the shadows and running up and surprising people out of nowhere, just taking them out real quick, right in their face, and slipping back, being mobile, slippery. That is my kind of character.
Yeah, she's fun.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I wanted to play her first thing, and I did.
Okay.
And actually found it pretty difficult.
Yeah,
had a lot of trouble.
It takes quite a bit of getting used to. I was laughing because I was playing it and I was like, this is just like Blink on a mage,
Yeah, exactly.
And I was literally blinking when I was pressing it, and it was that quick. It was so fast.
It really is.
It's going to take some getting used to, judging the distance on how far one blink is, how far two blinks are, or a blink, turn, blink kind of a thing around corners. Like she's so slippery.
She is.
Don't chase Tracer.
It's not worth it.
It's and then of course she's got her recall, so she jumps in and then
just
goes to wherever she was 3 seconds before.
Yep.
Time lapse essentially. If you played the Dota 2s, I pressed.
And she regains all her ammo, everything where she was, her health, ammo, her position, everything is regained through that ability. And going back in time, it really just shifts you back to where you were.
Yeah. Speaking of ammo. That's one thing that I'm really excited about is, yes, people reload, but you don't run out of ammunition.
Right.
I think that's one of the most annoying things to me, being a very not first-person shootery person, just because I'm like, I want to kill people, but I already have this hurdle of I can't keep them in my crosshairs.
Exactly. You don't have to worry about that aspect of the game. It's not limiting you, and you can just keep playing. You can keep focusing on having fun instead of, say, in Call of Duty, I ran out of clips of magazines, I need to go and find a dead body to get more.
Yeah.
Or even in Quake, where are the ammo crates sitting around? Instead, you could just keep running, keep gunning, and not worry too much about that at all.
It's good. Like there are I noticed that there are health packs or little health cylinders floating around.
Right, yeah.
Were there shield ones too? I feel like I don't remember.
I don't recall shield ones, no. Though I think those only Torbjorn
abilities.
can throw out
Torbjorn can,
or
and
abilities.
Yeah, there's
Symmetra has hers.
And Yamate also has a defensive thing too.
Right. His is a healing
shield.
over time.
Well, he also has a. I feel like he has a shield too. I could be wrong. Somebody has a shield.
Somebody. Well, I know. Yeah.
Maybe it's Symmetra. You're right. It was Symmetra. Anyways, I was gonna say something about. Oh yeah, so the only thing you really have to worry about picking up is if you're low health, and really if you're not a healer or if you're not Bastion, then like you have to worry about that. But you don't. There's no running out of ammo, and so you just in random buildings there are these stations where you can pick up a health, basically a health globe like in Diablo 3, and they respawn every so often. But yeah, if the game being so short, ammo would just be a pain because the game's done in 10 minutes or less. I think of the 10 games we played, maybe one of them lasted the whole time, right?
And that was just
and that was I think our first round too. We didn't know what we were doing. We're like,
right.
But other than that, they're 10 minutes or less. So having to collect ammunition or find it would be so. It would just take away from the pace of the game.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
And so real quick to go back to Tracer, one more thing for me would be the fact that I really couldn't get her ultimate. I had too much trouble even just getting it loaded, and perhaps it's because I would begin playing her and then find that I wasn't having success and then change to another character, so that may be the case.
Yeah.
But she's one that I feel is difficult to master. But once you do, you are going to be nearly untouchable.
Yeah, I feel like too. That was a really good point you brought up about the ultimate recharge thing.
Mhm.
There was a couple times where I never got my ultimate charged up in the game. Whether it's because honestly, like the game was just it was over before my ult charged up, or because I was dying too quick, and that's like obviously that's my own fault. But I don't know. I don't know if maybe I think that definitely needs to be tuned. Blizzard, if you're listening, we could. I feel like that was one thing. I know I have the potential to use this awesome ability, but
I can't get
but
there.
I can't get there. And
Yeah.
even the time that I had my best match when I was just constantly causing damage and wreaking havoc was when I was Bastion. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But the entire game, that was, I don't know, maybe 8-minute game, and I used my ult twice in the entire game, and and I used it right when it came available too. So I don't know if maybe it's something where at the start of the game, your ult is already charged up.
That would
like
be,
at the start you get one, and so it's like choose wisely who your first hero's gonna be. Or like maybe you can switch heroes, and then but after the gates open, if you swap a hero, you don't get that ultimate or something. But I think that at the same time, if you had it available,
that might be kind of chaotic though.
Yeah, because then right at the very
if you have
first thing,
Bastion bringing in like if you had 4 Bastions all bringing in their turrets right there at the entrance, everybody would be dead, or maybe even 4 Reapers.
It's true.
So
I take that back. Maybe just increase the rate at which we could regenerate that. I think that would
exactly, because it's already a super fast-paced game. And the fact that it takes so long to get an ultimate makes it very difficult to even cast it multiple times.
Yeah, and then there's like multiple times where I thought my finger was on W, but it was on Q, and I wasted an ult, and I'm looking down at the ground. I shot Hanzo's ult into the ground one time, and into a wall the other time. Yeah, I take that back. At the very beginning of the game would be terrible, because even something like if you had 6 Reapers, Reaper,
they're all just sitting there spinning in circles and bullets flying.
Or like Symmetra's like somehow she just gets to the other side and just builds a teleporter right away.
Oh my.
So that's a bad idea, but I do think that we should be able to generate that quicker.
Yes.
But yeah, so Pulse Bomb.
And one more thing on the ultimate, is the fact that it's not really too clear exactly how your ultimate gets charged going into the game.
It's not. Even when we press the F1, we're like, how I see that this is not charged.
How do
charge?
Yeah.
Ken has ultimate.
And so I feel like they need to say to charge your ultimate, you need to deal damage to enemies, or if you're a support, heal allies that are damaged, or and I guess you kind of figure that out playing the game, but there's just not that clarification that I feel would be pretty nice to have.
For sure. Also, and I know there was no tutorial, we just got thrown in, so I'm sure that they'll include.
It is obviously very much alpha.
Yeah, but a very polished. That's the thing with Blizzard games, we always forget. We think like, this game is so polished. It's ready. It's not ready, but it's really close. Like it feels really good.
Yep.
All right. So let's move on and talk about somebody else now. All right, next up on the chopping block, Reaper. Die. So also, he's an offensive hero. He's got his Hellfire shotguns, and coolest reload animation. He just drops them, and then he just pulls out 2 more. Wraith form, which allows him to be invulnerable, but he can't attack, so he runs for a little while and is invulnerable. And then Shadow Step, which lets him teleport. That one is, I feel like that's a very brave move that you got to do.
That one is too slow.
It's way too slow.
I used it. I'm still sitting here.
I think
about 3 seconds.
I think that's the point, though. Like, I think, like even just looking at this, they'd probably want it to be used to get up somewhere high, Like
Yeah.
that's kind of his mobility thing, so he can get up to a second floor. And it's not really that's not his escape form or his charge into battle thing, unless you can like sneak up on somebody, shadow step, and then just do your death blossom.
Right. And my thoughts on that is that the maps are kind of almost too small for that to be a pretty, useful ability. But then again, with a map like what's the Japanese one called again?
Hanamura or something.
Hanamura, yeah.
Something.
There actually are places that are unreachable unless you take a certain route and go through like the temple to get around to it. And so I guess in that case it would be useful. You can just blink over there with his shadow step, or not really blink, but just. Yeah.
Definitely. And then his ult is Death Blossom. Where
so good.
Yeah, I never got to use it because I couldn't. That was the time I played Reaper was the game that I was in King's Row in the church and we couldn't get out.
Yeah, that was.
But he also not on here. He also has a passive that is not listed on here, and it's called something like Reap Souls or something like that. And what it does is, as he, I believe, as enemies around him die, he regains health. So that's something that is not on the website.
Yeah, I just noticed. I'm looking at it now, and I don't see it.
It was definitely. I saw it. It was on there. So that's his little bit of sustainability.
Maybe in his overview.
Yeah, and I think there's not even, besides him and Bastion, not many people have self heals. Like that's, as a healer, there was times when I was like, I hope somebody else picks up a healer.
I'm not there.
Yeah. Or like, I'm going to die healing my friends, kind of a thing. So, but Bastion was just like, we'll get to him in a second.
Right.
He's crazy.
he has much to talk about.
Yeah.
with
So I feel like I was killed by Reaper, probably, maybe the most times out of anyone.
Really?
Well, Reaper,
yeah,
I feel like I noticed being killed by Reaper a lot because the shotguns he has to get up close and personal, and so I just
he's very terrifying.
And he just when he runs at you, he's invulnerable, and it's like, dang it, I'm too slow,
See this shadow coming at you, and you just know that he's gonna just blast your face in with shadowy bullets of death.
Yeah.
And with his guns. For any of those Call of Duty players out there, if you remember the model shotguns, they're very much like that, where you just boof, boof, boof. And his reload animation is just it's so good. He just drops the guns Terminator style
and then he pulls them
back up.
pulls out 2 new guns from nowhere.
So good.
So yeah, he was fun. I definitely, a lot of people were playing Reaper. I feel like he was, well, I mean, there's only 12, but I feel like there was multiple Reapers all the time.
He's very appealing to the assassin type.
Yeah, for sure. And then Death Blossom is, so do you go third person view? Like I said, I never got a chance to use that ulti.
With Death Blossom, honestly, I didn't either, which is why I feel that the ultimate, when we just talked about that, the ultimate needs to be sped up
a little bit, just a little bit, like just a little bit. We know they're these powerful, awesome abilities. We don't want to be using them all the time,
right?
But we want to at least be using them once.
We want to
at least once per, and that's like, even if you're having a bad, because that's the thing, like when you're behind and they're just gaining all their ultimate charges or whatever, and you just keep dying and you can't even do it, then it's like everyone on their team has ultimates and they just continue to beat you into the ground. So I feel like maybe something like, if you like, even dying will increase, I don't know, something to where, because I feel like the ultimate is kind of, it can be a game changer and like a comeback tool, but if you're way behind, it's hard to get access to it.
It is, unless perhaps if you change your strategy, change your hero picks, but then you lose the chance of gaining your ultimate anyways, because when you change a hero,
it resets, right? It goes back to 0. So that's like, and that's another thing. It's like, I'm at 80%.
I gotta keep playing. Gotta get that ultimate. Yeah.
Well, did it reset on death? I wasn't paying attention to that.
No. It does not.
Only when you swap heroes.
Only when you swap. So that is why
it's good to know.
It's incentive to stay.
To stay, but also, okay.
But you want to change your strategy sometimes. Yeah. And so
sometimes stuff's just not working out. Yeah. Okay. Well, Good to know. All right. So moving on to Widowmaker.
All right.
She's
one of my personal
Her
favorites.
defense, her role is defense because she can just sit and chill. Yeah. So
Headshot.
she's got Widow's Kiss, which is her assault rifle / sniper rifle.
That gun is. I like
yeah.
that idea.
Yeah,
that is very
it's like,
innovative idea.
I'm just gonna the barrel goes in and then now it's an assault rifle.
Yeah, and the scope pops out and
Yeah,
bam,
that's
sniping.
awesome.
It's
Yeah.
so cool.
So that's Widow's Kiss. Grappling hook is her Batman hook.
I am Batman.
Yeah, which is awesome. The Venom Mine. I feel like I got hit by this a lot. But
really?
It didn't. Well, I saw it maybe 2 or 3 times that I ran into it, but it never really did a whole lot. I don't know if I wasn't watching it, or maybe I was just like full health every time I ran into it. But
Yeah, I think if you're full health, it won't really do too much.
yeah,
But
it's definitely good for people running away who are low health to finish them off. And then her
or even a trigger. If you're camped up with Widowmaker in in a window and there's a stairs leading up to your room, then you could leave one sitting at the bottom of the stairs that says, "Hey, there's somebody coming."
Yeah, and you can kind of like corral them almost. Like, well, if you go down, you're gonna deal with my mine, but if you go up, I'm gonna snipe you in the head, kind of a thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's kind of good. I feel like that's also good for her to place behind her when she's in, like when she gets up to a perch, So that kind of covers her back a little bit. So people running in, like, yeah, it's not gonna stop them from going after her, but at least it'll help her out, give her a little bit of stuff. And then her ultimate, Infrasight, which is she brings down her goggles and she can see an infrared image of everybody on the map, pretty much all the enemies. So if somebody's running around a corner, you see a little red outline silhouette of them running, and so you can just be ready. As soon as they turn that corner, they're dead before they even know what hit them. This is another hero that I was not the best at because sniping and because the game is so fast. Like in this trailer, it's like she's getting all these headshots, but everyone's standing still. There's no standing still in Overwatch really, unless you're also a sniper. But yeah,
and my experience with her, I like her because I love sniping. I was a sniper in Call of Duty. I am a natural. I love sniping.
All right.
Getting those headshots, and so that's what I aimed to do when I picked her. I said, okay, I'm gonna sit in the back while we defend, and I'm gonna pick people off.
Yeah.
Especially in that is it Hanamura, the Japanese one? I keep forgetting.
Yeah, something like that.
Where there's basically that funnel for the defense for the offensive team to go to the objective.
Are you talking about the first one, the bell, or the second one, where
the first
they go
one,
into the temple? Okay.
Because there's that single
giant
entrance.
bell. Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe there is another way to get around, but it's not.
You have
not
to
commonly used.
You have to do use some mobility things like either a Ferrofly or a grappling hook to get up there. There is a back sneak around. Then there's I feel like there's like 3 entrances to every point, which is cool. Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah, but it is still pretty funneled in that one. And so when I was playing Widowmaker, I was getting the kills. I was sniping people the moment they walked into the opening, and I managed to get 12 kills that round. However, we still lost, and I was at almost the bottom of the charts on the scores.
Really?
So it just goes to show that kills is not the name of the game.
That's true. I was like, when I was playing support or tank characters, I was like first, second, or third of our 6 people every single time, just for, and I wasn't killing people really. Sometimes like I got lucky and I'd have a turret kill stuff, or I just like smash people with my hammers and stuff. But yeah, it's good times.
Yeah.
All right.
I would say kills are mostly useful for holding them back.
Yeah.
Or especially
it's good for stalling almost.
Stalling, yeah. If you're the defensive team, you want to kill them just so that they have to go back and respawn.
They have to run back to your area, and then you can kind of reposition and kind of keep them pushed. That's like the time that I my team just got totally wrecked. We couldn't even leave the church. Like,
Right.
like we could not get out because they just had us
'Cause
pushed
we had
back,
2
and then we died.
Torbjorns and
And a Bastion, and then a Reaper, and
I was
a-
playing Zenyatta, popping the
Yep.
heals on everybody
Yep.
left and right.
Yeah. So, all right. Anything else about Widowmaker for this episode?
She's Batwoman. She's got a sniper. She's awesome. Can call in the UAV
Yeah.
to see the enemy team. That's pretty sweet. So yeah, let's move on.
All right, moving on to Winston. Winston.
I love this
Enjoying the exhibit. So his role is the tank. His weapon is the Tesla cannon, which is his lightning gun. He's got a jump pack. He's got his shield projector, and his ultimate is Primal Rage.
Going ape.
Yeah, this is another ultimate that I didn't play much of Winston, but another ultimate that I didn't ever get a chance to use.
Oh man, I used this one multiple times.
Yeah.
And had the greatest time. You basically turn into the Hulk.
Yeah.
You're just, yeah. We'll get into it. Let's. So yeah, his Tesla cannon, short range, and so that means that you have to be mobile. You have
Yeah.
to be on their toes.
It synergizes really well with his other abilities, though. Like with you jump pack right in on top of him, and then you throw up your shield, and then you can just bash him. And this is another one too that it's a channeled thing, right? Like it channels the lightning, so you don't have to necessarily have the best aim, or it.
No, yeah, it's kind of like Symmetra's where it has an area of
It's got an
Symmetra's,
area.
it follows them, but his has more of an area.
An
of
area,
effect.
so it's almost like a cone, a blast cone in front
Exactly. Yeah.
of him. Yeah.
And what many people might not know is that his jump pack ability actually does a significant amount of damage and
Like on the land?
staggers them. Yeah, on the land.
Really?
So you think that you're kind of just it's not just a mobility thing. It's actually an offensive.
Yeah, it's it's basically
ability.
like Thor slams into the ground.
Exactly. Except this is a giant gorilla just
Yeah.
ready to smash some heads in.
Yeah. All right. Tell us a little bit about his shield projector.
All right. So his shield projector, I like this.
You
ability
threw this up
because
all the time.
All
I
the
feel like
time.
you were playing Winston a lot.
I loved him.
Yeah.
Because what I would do is I would run in and I would be expecting that there'd be enemy lines all around me, and so I would, as soon as I jumped in and landed, I'd pop that shield. And if you're capturing an objective, or if you're trying to get that payload captured, you can just sit there and hold off the enemy lines and draw the fire while your team sneaks in.
Yeah.
Although there were times where I used that strategy, and there was just too much.
There was no hope. I remember one time specifically, I was Mercy and I was healing you, and I saw you jumped into, I think, like
You're like, no.
4 or 5 of them. I said, I'm not following
Not
you.
following that
I
idiot.
can't. I'm sorry. We're not going to make it.
Right. But that shield protector also gives you a chance to kind of, recuperate, or even just get a sense of direction.
Yeah.
Look around, say, okay, we got a sniper up
Because
top.
there's no mini map. You're constantly looking at the world, and I really appreciate that there's no mini map. I'm not looking.
Yeah,
I'm not
there's
looking for
not-
blinking red dots on on the bottom of my screen. I'm looking at the middle of the screen. I'm looking all around, out of the corner of my eyes, trying to see do I see anything in the world. And the user interface is just super clean. Even when somebody's healing you, there's a little icon behind you with their name, or there's an icon and it shows where they are. Someone's giving you a damage boost, same thing. And conversely, if you're a healer, if people need healing, icons pop up. This guy needs healing, like quick, and there's different colors
Little
based
red
on.
cross.
Yeah. So it's just very clean. It's very Blizzard. It feels like a Blizzard game, and it's a first-person shooter. I remember as we were going back to play it the second time, I said, "Bro, Blizzard has a first-person shooter."
It's like,
What?
Where did this come from?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. They're tackling a whole new genre and doing an amazing job.
Yeah. It's good stuff. So, and then so Primal Rage, do you even have to click anything, or do you just run at people?
You do click. You have your attacks.
still-
Obviously, your main melee sweeping arm attack, which does a ton of damage. But
Yeah.
also
You jump.
You have your jump pack, which has a decreased
Cooldown?
Cooldown, so you
Okay.
can just keep
Keep
jump,
jumping.
attack, jump, attack. You're just all over the place.
Okay.
And that's
Literally
what I
like
would
the
do.
Hulk. Yeah.
Literally like the Hulk. You would jump from one person to another, just distracting the fire, dealing the damage. It's a wonderful ability. It is very well worth to recharge and get that ultimate ability in there.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next, Farah. Death from above. All right, so Farah,
good.
she's another offense. She's awesome. She looks like a Gundam in her.
Yeah.
Like
She really does.
she's cool. But also like an Egyptian, like Ra kind of a little bit. She's very bird themed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, so she's got her rocket launcher, which is her just her basic attack. It shoots rockets and it blows
Yep.
up. She's got her jump jet, which will shoot her up into the sky, and then if she holds down shift, she can do a little hover for a little bit. And then her concussive blast is her E, which shoots and it knocks people away. And then she has her barrage ability, which if you cast that while you're in the sky, you'll stay up there, and so you won't have to use any of your fuel from your jetpacks or whatever.
And your fuel gets recharged as
Really?
you're in the air. Yeah.
Huh. There you go. So I played a couple rounds. This is one I actually got to use her ult quite a few times. I was having fun with Farah. I played her on the Hanamura, or gosh, I need to write this down. Anyways, the Japanese level, and that was actually a pretty big one. Like especially being on the attacking team, going to the second point, and so it was nice to just be able to jump jet like, phew, phew, and it gives some mobility. Her rocket launcher, I felt like for me it was a little difficult to hit.
Yeah.
Especially from farther ranges. Like it's good to kind of like to provide cover fire from people and to just kind of get out of here. But I felt like there's a lot of times when I'm just firing it and they
And
dodge it.
Who knows if it goes anywhere?
Yeah, it's kind of slow, or at least the enemy can see it coming because they're just single kind of a thing.
Right.
So it's a little difficult to hit, but
yeah, and that it takes time to be able to get good with that weapon, because I know from playing games like Quake where there's rocket launchers, it takes a certain you have to guess where they're going to be rather than just firing it directly at them.
You got to lead them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, concussive blast is pretty awesome too. If you can land it, it just pushes them out of the way, and it's really good, especially because there are so many bottlenecks. A lot of people are coming at you guys, and you just push them back. It slows them down for a little bit.
Right.
And then rocket barrage, it's actually, or just barrage is pretty cool. You can even use it just while on the ground, and it's just this constant stream of rockets. And so that one's
just Iron Manning it.
yeah, yeah, it's
so cool.
It's just like Iron Man.
And to go back to her concussive blast, one thing I wish I had known when playing her, I knew that she was very offensive with her rockets and her barrage and everything, but I wish I had known that her concussive blast deals immense. It says here on the website, deals immense damage to shields and barriers.
Yeah.
Now that is very useful.
I didn't know that either, especially for people like Winston or Reinhardt or even Bastion. I feel like she's kind of the Bastion counter.
Yep.
And Bastion seems ridiculously strong. Like
Yes.
I didn't die. I got 13 kills and I didn't die, and all I did was sit there, and I healed myself,
Right.
and I threw out my remote mine, and it was crazy.
Yeah. But if you want to take the shields down, take the
Shields
tanks down, even the turrets, she is the one to go to. I would say she should probably be in every offensive pick.
Yeah.
Especially, I guess with any defensive player, she counters them pretty much.
With her shield shred.
Yeah, and there was even one time playing on the Temple of Anubis where Bastion was set up on the defensive team.
Okay.
And I knew that we had to get him out of the way, and so I jumped up, sword in the air over him so that he could not fire at me, and then took him out with really only like 2 rockets. So
Yeah.
that is one way to counter him.
Yeah. Yeah, because he has, when he goes turret mode, he has limited view of range, and it takes a second for him to come in and out of the turret.
Right. So yeah, Farah, one of my favorite picks.
Death from above. Her voice acting is really good too.
It is, yeah. She is a very interesting character.
Yeah,
her
she's
theme,
cool.
at least.
Yeah, she's like, I see her as almost like Pharaoh's daughter. Like,
Yeah.
Like if Pharaoh was like, oh, I need this. Like if Pharaoh of the future was like, I need, or like, I want someone to follow in my military like conquest footsteps, and she was like,
Right.
she stepped up and she's like, let's do this, guys.
The Egyptian.
And yeah. Anyways, moving on to Reinhardt. He's also a tank. This guy's awesome.
He's
So he's got his rocket hammer, which is just his basic melee swing. Pew, pew, pew. He's got his shield, which is just a frontal shield, like a phalanx, essentially. It can reach from most alleyways, like end to end. So throw
It's
Reinhardt
massive.
in the front charge and have the team follow. And then he's got his charge, which is shift. He'll run. He'll do his crazy charge, and if he hits a hero, and he pins him up against the wall, then it knocks him over.
Give him a righteous uppercut.
It does quite a bit of damage too. A lot of times I was charged and pinned up against the wall, and then I was just instantly dead. So
yeah.
it says
it's almost an insta kill.
it
I'd
says
say.
tank, but he does a crap ton of damage too.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I had
yeah.
probably the funnest time playing him
Oh
because
yeah,
of
me too, definitely. He also has first strike, which is his E, which is a ranged hammer slash thing, almost like a thunder deal. And then he's got earth shatter, which knocks down, slams his rocket into the ground, and knocks down and damages all the enemies in front of him. And that is within like a medium range. I cast it once far away, didn't know how far the shockwave went, and it hit nobody, but they were still afraid of me. It was like a taunt move. I just threw that out. That was the game that we won in like 4 minutes. You remember that? I was Reinhardt. I just was standing on the point, and they were just they didn't want to come close, and I just had my shield up.
He's scary.
He's
You
very
don't want to get
scary.
near his hammer.
Yeah, they were just shooting at my shield, but it wasn't doing enough. And I think too, people don't realize the shields mean shoot me. Like
Yeah.
shoot the
It's
shield.
really
They actually go
target.
down pretty quick. They go down
Yeah.
pretty quick. I felt a lot of times at BlizzCon there was times when people would see my shield and they would just not shoot. I'm like, thank you for you're basically like, because if the whole team was shooting at it, it shreds pretty quick.
Indeed.
And so pro tip, shoot the shields and then they're gone.
Right. There was a time I was playing Bastion and Reinhardt was coming in hard with the shield. He's saying, "Nobody can stop me now."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, okay."
I'll just
then
shoot
my
you
50,000 rounds of bullets.
Yeah, it's,
It's
and you're
definitely gonna.
and you're dead.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like you said, there were people who felt that the shields were unbreakable.
Yeah,
and yet that is not the
impenetrable
case.
shield. That's not at all.
Definitely not. Yeah.
It's good to be Reinhardt and have the enemy think that you got this magical shield that can't be broken, but indeed you just shoot through it. Or
and
obviously,
I'd say one-on-one there's probably much,
oh yeah,
it can probably withhold much more on if you're a one-on-one situation.
Oh,
But
for
if you have the whole team, or at least even 3 players on the opposing team shooting his shield, then it's going to go down.
or even just Bastion. I feel like Bastion or a Pharah, just one person focus firing. And that's all this is being said is if you can't get around him. Like if you can get behind him, obviously just shoot him and not his shield.
Right.
Or shoot his allies. But yeah. He felt really tanky even without the shield. I feel like he had
He has
more
a lot of health.
more health
I mean,
than Winston for
I
sure.
think it's 600. Yeah, 600 health to begin with.
Yeah.
So he can take a lot of hits.
Yeah. So he is the go-to tank.
Yep. And
It's super
and
good
really
for,
just
for charging. Like if you
Yeah.
if you get stuck in a situation like my team was where we couldn't make it out of the church, just follow Reinhardt. Like pick up a Reinhardt and just have
follow
people
the
follow.
glorious Reinhardt.
Yeah. And so what I did was there was a point where I was just running and there were people behind me because when you have the shield up, you go a little bit slower, right?
Yeah, you do. You start walking.
I saw my shield. The damage was about to go down, and everyone's shooting me from like a thing that's higher up. And then so as soon as my shield went down, I just charged into the wall, like not intending to hit anybody, just to get out of their line of sight, you know. And then people started to come down, and then once they're in melee range of me, I just smashed them, you know. So so they died. So Reinhardt was definitely, he was a ton of fun.
Oh yeah, and one quick thing about his shield, I know we're harping on it quite a bit. It's an amazing mechanic.
It's great.
Is that it is also movable. It's not stationary. You can move it up and down. There were times where there was a Widowmaker, hitting me in the back.
You can move it up?
And
How?
You move your mouse.
Really? I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, there were times where Widowmaker or even a Reaper were up behind me, trying to pick me off, and I felt the bullets from behind, turned around, and was able to defend myself.
You could feel the bullets through the game.
Oh yeah, it was penetrating my very soul.
It was crazy, man. They had those Steel Series headset. They'll get you.
Oh yeah.
All right, so that is good old Reinhardt. Okay, remind me, you have class at 5 o'clock?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can stop here. I feel like we should stop here. We can get into all the my favorite heroes in our next time.
Right, Mercies, Zenyatta.
We've hit an hour.
Torbjorn.
Yeah, so we're gonna call that a show for now.
Okay.
But thank you for tuning in to the first ever episode of the OverCast, the Overwatch podcast.
The OverCast. Actually, no. You gotta play. Cue the amazing Overwatch music.
I'm gonna cue the music. All right, hang on. So I'll cue this and then this will be done. So hang on. So yeah, next time we'll talk news if there's any more news. We'll go over more heroes. We'll talk a little bit more about gameplay. We'll also be we might be bringing in somebody who didn't play the game and have him just ask us questions for a player who did not. Somebody who's excited about the game, like you viewers, but hasn't played yet. So if this takes off and people maybe will take some email questions or blah blah blah. Eventually we'll get to play the game with people, and we can
hopefully if we can get that beta.
Play with listeners. Yeah, so
sign up for beta now.
Yeah, sign up. Get them while they're hot. Anyways, so we're gonna roll the ending music. I've been Helsing. You can find me on Twitter at Gabriel Hager, or on this YouTube channel, Helsing. Holmes, you're on the internet. You don't have Twitter or anything like that, right?
I do actually, but not not for my my gamer tag Holmes. It is my generic Twitter, but perhaps I should create one then.
We'll get Holmes hooked up.
Yeah.
To the internet world.
Get me on that.
So you guys can follow the aspects of his internet life. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Right. Thanks for listening, viewers at home. This has been the OverCast.
The OverCast.
Playing outro. And I don't know who else saw this, but here we go. This is what you guys are probably saying about this show right now. Just listen.
Yeah! That was awesome!
Bye!
Goodbye.